Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome. I want to ask you guys a question, and I want you to answer this honestly. Do you really think that in 5 years from now, silver could still be in the $20 range? Now, let's think about this. Think about how much has happened in the last 5 years. Think about how much different the world is from just a year ago. So, looking forwards at where things are realistically headed, do you really believe $24 silver is its natural price? If you answered this saying that silver is undervalued, then you should have no reason to be worried about what the price does anytime soon. And actually, you should be hoping it stays low or even falls lower so you can get it for a better price. So anyways, you heard it here first, folks. This is Silver Slayer, and welcome to my channel. Now, I am so excited to make this type of video. This is going to be one of those types of videos you show to someone that doesn't understand why you're stacking silver. They'll ask, why not stocks, or why not even gold? This is going to be that video that shows its true value, why it's so undervalued, and also why it has so much more potential than any other investment. Now, before we jump into this, I got to shout out someone. So, shout out to Duckbill Platitude for becoming the newest member of the Slayer Elite. If you also want to join, click the join button right below. You'll get access to members only silver giveaways and a ton of other stuff. So shout out Duckbill Platitude. Now, this link to Coin Trackers will be in the description. And I made this, I was thinking about a couple of articles I read over the past week. I've been covering a lot of mainstream media types of articles, types of sources where they talk about silver in a very interesting perspective. Instead of looking at where it's headed, they only look at the price now and determine if it's a good investment off of its current price, which is not investing. When you're invested into something, you're investing into the project. You're investing into that thought, that idea, and looking at how it's going to blossom and looking at where it's headed, not where it's currently at. Right? They don't do that. They look at, oh, silver's $24, it's still low, don't buy it. But then when it gets to $30, then they're going to tell you to buy it. But that doesn't make sense. Why would you buy it high and not buy it while it's cheap? You're supposed to get in before the curve. So instead of saying silver's low, looking at the following circumstances shows it's going to go up, so you should buy it. No, they don't do that. Once it hits $30, once it already has exploded, then they're going to tell you to buy it. And that's the wrong time to buy it. That's when you should be selling it to the people that are buying it, right? Buy before, when most people are buying, you should be selling. You get in early. You get in early before the curve. And then once it explodes, while everyone else starts talking about it, friends, family, your dog, your cat, your next door neighbor, news, that's when you sell to those people. Because when everyone else starts talking about it, you already know it's too late. It's too late. So this video is going to be interesting because I'm going to add a little twist. As we go over this, especially towards the end, I'm going to add some points and you'll see what I mean. Anyways, let's go into it. So whether you have considered investing in silver or you have already invested or have an investment in this precious metal, you've probably been following the falling prices over the past few months with some interest. And I found this article. This wasn't written yesterday or today. I usually cover articles like that, but it's the time frame of this article is irrelevant. They're just talking about during this period of time. In let's see if there's a day. The day doesn't matter. During this period of time, silver prices were falling over the last couple months, and they're explaining what happens when prices fall. Okay, so you've probably been following the falling prices over the past few months with some interest and possibly nervousness. Understanding why the prices have fallen the way they did and what to expect in the future is important and may help you decide what you plan to do with your current and future investments. See, you got to look forwards when you're investing in a rental property, right? Say you're going to buy a house or rent a house. You don't look at the current house's value. You look at where it's headed the property value will be headed. So then in 10, 20 years, when you want to sell it, you can get an idea if the property value has risen. Are they going to be building schools or tearing schools down? Are they going to be building shopping centers or tearing them down? Does it look like the neighborhood is going to be blossoming or, deteriorating? Because then you'll be able to tell if that house will be more expensive or you'll lose money off that investment. Silver is the same way. Looking forwards, so many things show that silver is only going to gain value. Just like if you answered that question in the beginning of the video, chances are in 5 years, there's no way you could tell me silver's still going to be $24. There's no possible way. Think about how much worse the dollar is than just 5 years ago. I mean, the dollar's lost 44% of its purchasing power in the last 20 years alone. It's getting worse. So trillions of dollars in stimulus, that's going to probably destroy the dollar. It's going to collapse it. Elites are already talking about a new currency to replace the US dollar. And you would ask, why the US dollar? Why not, what's so special about the US dollar? What's the world's reserve currency? Every country across the globe relies on the dollar's strength, and the dollar is falling. When I say 98%, I'm not exaggerating. It's not 97%, it's not 99%. It's 98% of the dollar's purchasing power is literally gone, and it's only getting worse. So, understanding the present is easier when you look at the past. Silver investors have experienced a bull market for the past 12 years. So when the prices rise like this, there has to be a good period of readjustment. That's a correction. It's actually good for the price to go down, because then it can go up higher. I know that sounds contradicting, but like right now, when silver hit $11 in March, that's actually the start of something very big. Look at both times when silver hit $50. In the 80s, it went from like $6, $7 up to $50. In 2011, it went from $9 silver, not in 2011, but starting from 2008 to 2011, it went from like $9 silver to $50 silver. And if we compare both of these $50 silver times, what was happening in the economy, what were stocks like, what was the dollar like, what was happening to cause $50 silver, the exact same thing is happening now, but to a much, much, much more extreme extent. What do you mean, Slayer? Well, in 2008, that was the credit crisis, the financial crisis. That gave out billions of dollars in stimulus. Keyword, those billions. Nowadays, we have a global pandemic, but this led to trillions of dollars in stimulus. I don't know if you guys are a mathematician or not, but the difference between $1 billion and $1 trillion is a lot. I don't think the human brain can fathom how much bigger of a number $1 trillion is than $1 billion. So think about if billions in stimulus hurt the dollar enough to put silver up $50. Imagine what trillions of dollars in stimulus can do to the dollar that's already hurt much worse than in 2011. Also a global pandemic with 5G, the green energy revolution since Joe Biden won, pushing silver demand to unprecedented levels, and also a supply shortage. I mean, this is a recipe for explosive prices. The stars have aligned. The perfect storm is here. If you want to talk about crazy silver prices, we're living in crazy times. If you want to talk about $100 silver, this would be the time more than ever for that to happen. Not last year, not 2 years ago. If anyone was going to say that silver is going to hit $100, right now, what's happening right now would definitely be the most plausible time. So another reason prices have gone down a bit is the value of the US dollar has risen. And that's the direct correlation. But we know the dollar is not going to be rising after the stimulus gets thrown out. This was back in that current time. So part of this is due to the change in monetary policy, but in place to help the U.S. and the world's economy recover from the recession. However, when the dollar is up, precious metals tend to be a bit lower, and it's honestly the opposite as well. There's a direct correlation from precious metals and the dollar. When the dollar index is high, gold and silver is low. When the dollar index is low, gold and silver is high. So combine these two reasons together, And it's a bit clearer why the current price of silver is lower than it was a year ago. So we can use this formula and apply it to the future. So we know stimulus is going to push the dollar extremely low. And think about where the dollar is going to be in 5 years from now. I want you guys to keep reflecting upon that 5-year question, because we're talking about all this from like the next couple months and stuff. But think in 5 years, how much crazier, how many more scenarios, how many more unknown variables are gonna be in place, and think about where the price will be by then. I mean, think about it. Citibank, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs. There's so many very, very trusted, accurate, and respectable sources have been calling for $100 silver in the next year. The next year. And people are going to call them crazy, but a year is a lot of time, right? This pandemic just happened in January, February, that really kicked off. It's just December. I mean, a year, a lot can happen. So imagine 5 years. If you still think silver is going to be $24 with all that and all that time, then you're crazy. You don't understand how economics work. You don't understand how the economy works. You don't understand how the financial system works. You don't understand, how precious metals work. I mean, if you can look at all this, then you should know that silver is extremely undervalued, that the price is going to go much higher. So you should be happy when the price is low. And knowing that, it's almost like we have a time capsule, right? When you're investing in anything else, you're hoping that that company does rise and the company doesn't fall off, or something doesn't happen in the company and they go out of business, or whatever the case is. But with precious metal, they've been valuable for 5,000 years. Precious metals aren't going anywhere, and the need for them is going up, and the production is going down. Silver is getting harder and harder to mine. There's less and less of it, but we need more and more of it. So low supply, high demand shoots the price up. I mean, it's so obvious that silver is a ticking time bomb waiting to explode, and it just hasn't exploded yet. So we might as well take advantage of that. It's not like, silver might explode in the next, or silver might, be up 10% in the next, 5 years or 1 or 2 years. It's not like that. It's so obvious that it will be. It just depends if you want to believe it or not. If you want to, if you want to stay closed-minded, or if you want to look at reality. I'm a realist. All these other people are talking about silver as a risky investment and all that. They're not looking at the reality. And that's why anytime you ask them why they think that, they go into situations that they're assuming. They don't look at what's actually happening, right? When you are investing, this is the difference between gambling and investing. Gamblers, they look at what's right in front of them. They're gambling right now. They're gambling. Everything's on the table right then. Investors, they don't care about right now. They're looking at the future. Right? And the people that try to say silver's a bad investment, they look at things right now. Well, the dollar's good. It is, there's a little bit of strength in the dollar, and silver's $24 right now. They're looking at everything right now. But an investor, like I said earlier, you invest into that project, that idea, they're where they're headed. And knowing that, we know things are going to get a lot worse, and it's going to be a recipe for disaster for the dollar and the economy, which pushes precious metals as a safe haven investment up, and so many other reasons as well. I can give you 20 reasons why silver will explode over the next 5 years. I can give you 20 reasons why stocks will not explode over the next 5 years, right? So anyways, the good thing about silver is that precious metals may temporarily lose their worth, but never lose their value. It has intrinsic value. Investors turn to silver and other precious metals again and again when they want to invest for the long term, meaning that current low rates are not worrisome as they may seem. So the question you should ask yourself is, let's get out of that. So the question you should ask yourself is, are things going to get better or worse? If you think they're going to get better, then assume that prices of silver and all precious metals, for that matter, will continue to drop. But do you really think things are going to get better? Do you really think over the next year, after stimulus, after throwing trillions of dollars that we literally do not have, is going to make things better? You think the vaccine is going to come out tomorrow? Things are going to get a lot worse. And that's what they say. If you think things are going to get worse, you might assume that prices of precious metals will eventually rise again. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, right? I hope you now understand why my name is Silver Slacker, or Now, shout out to Silver Slacker. That's a great channel, by the way. My name is Silver Slayer, not Gold Slayer, right? My name is Silver Slayer, not Gold Slayer. This is why I try to make videos about silver, not gold. This is why I've been talking about this for probably 4 or 5 years on this channel now. And back then, we would talk about this type of stuff, even if there wasn't a pandemic. We would talk about this stuff, but the time frame would be like in like 10 years from now for the dollar to really, you know, get to a point where it's near collapsing. But this pandemic has sped things up times 10. This pandemic has made everything so much more extreme and a lot sooner than expected. Things are gonna get a lot worse a lot sooner than expected. So right now is prime time to be on your toes. Got to be on your A game. We have to make the decisions we thought we had a lot of time to make. We don't have much time at all now. So knowing that, make sure that you are looking over your strategy, looking how to balance your stack, looking at, you know, how you would sell, you know, the safety nets between impulse buying, panic selling. What price won't you buy above? What price won't you sell below? Right? You got to think about all this stuff. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Link to this article is in the description. This was Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.